Good afternoon, future millionaires, and welcome to the Clicks to Riches Show, the only show on YouTube where your dreams of e-commerce success are just a click away. I'm your host, Martin, and as always, I'm joined by the ever-insightful Leah.
Thanks, Martin. I am super excited to be here today because we have a fantastic show lined up.
That's right, Leah, you should be excited. And you folks out there should be excited about today's episode too, because we're doing a deep dive into the secrets of Etsy success in 2025, sharing pro tips to boost your profits, and of course, bringing you the latest POD news and Printify updates. And a little bit later, we'll welcome our guest, industry celebrity and one of the most successful merchants ever to connect their Etsy shop to Printify, Jay De Souza. He's going to be giving you the 411 on how you can maximize your success on Etsy to make 2025 your most profitable year ever. By the end of today's show, you'll be so focused on optimizing your product descriptions that you'll start writing one for your cat. Highlighting features like sleek midnight fur, built-in purring mechanism, and self-cleaning capabilities.
I love that today's show is all about Etsy success and cat descriptions, apparently. But even if you're not selling on Etsy, there will be plenty of valuable insights you can apply to your business no matter the platform. Although, Martin, you did leave out one of the best parts of today's show, the prizes. We're giving our live audience 9 chances to win $15 of Printify sales credit instantly. And 3 of you who fill out our post-show survey will be chosen at random to win our grand prize of $50 of Printify credit and an exclusive Clicks to Riches Show t-shirt. So whatever you do, don't click away.
That's my bad, Leah. How could I forget about the prizes? But you'll have to forgive me because I was so focused on designing a world's best co-host mug on Printify that it must have completely slipped my mind. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, grab your notebook, settle in, and let's turn those clicks into riches. Now, Leah, I'm so excited that we get to talk about Etsy today because in my live Q&As, it's like one of the most popular topics. So if you're joining me for my live Q&A sessions, welcome, and it's great to see you. But yeah, it's an excellent topic, and it really covers a lot of the merchants out there in the POD sphere.
Absolutely, and it's still one of those platforms that's super beginner friendly. It's really accessible to anybody, and just goes to show too that we have so many viewers tonight joining us that you guys are still interested in this.
Exactly. Speaking of viewers, let's check out that chat. Who do we got checking in?
Oh, we have a bunch of lovely people. We already had lines at the virtual doors here today. We have Media 3 Group, greetings from the Cheesehead State or Wisconsin. Hello. We have My Adventure Bucket from snowy Oregon. I hope you're enjoying those snowy adventures then. We have the Squirrel Queen K, hello from Utah. Dawn from Colorado, Fancy Flamingos from Virginia Beach, and so many more from all over the place. Welcome.
All right, folks, it's going to be, we're going to have a great time today. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to be covering a lot of topics today, and you're going to have questions, and we'll deal with those in the dedicated Q&A portion a little bit later in today's show. So no need to hang on to those questions as they pop into your head. Just add those to the chat. Our moderator, Stahls, will collect those, and we'll address those during that live Q&A session. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with the show. A quick reminder that to stick around for our you fill out our post-show survey, and 3 of you will be randomly selected to receive our grand prize. But we teased a little bit of prize winning there in the opening monologue, and we're nothing if not people of our word. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give away today's first coupon code, where 3 of you will win $15 of Printify sales credit instantly. So what I'm going to need you folks to do is pull out your Printify account, and on the left-hand side where it says Wallet, navigate down to where it says Resource Center, and then find the coupon code entry box. And again, the first 3 of you that enter the coupon code in first will win instantly $15 of Printify sales credit. Now, if you don't win, you're going to see a notice that says this coupon code doesn't exist. And that means you were just a little bit too slow. But don't worry, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to win a little bit later in today's show. But if you do win, let us know in the chat so we can all celebrate. So without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, Etsy, Etsy, Etsy is today's first coupon code, spelled just like this. That's the topic of the day. That's the word that's on the tip of everybody's tongue. Etsy, 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 spelled just like this. Congratulations to the winners. Again, if you won, let us know in the chat. But don't worry, plenty more opportunities to win a little bit later. On with the show. Let's cover the latest breaking news in the world of print on demand, and we're going to be throwing a lot of links at you in the chat, but don't worry, all the links that we cover today will be available in the episode description as well, so no problem with you guys finding the sources. But this first story, I love it. Now, you may have already seen this. It's been quite popular, floating around in the ether of the POD universe. But Etsy and eBay are revamping and flipping the script of the way that they do their business. And they're basically going to emulate the model of social media out there, revamping their algorithm and making it so that you want to stay on their platform a little bit longer and shop. Now, this is going to be I think this is going to be really good news for you e-commerce merchants out there, because what's better than having shoppers staying on Etsy longer? That just gives them more opportunity for them to discover your listings. So this is all done in an effort to be modern and really to emulate what's going on in social media right now. Just another example of how social media is taking over the world.
Yeah, they're basically taking a playbook from TikTok and how they use their algorithm. They're really getting into the user behavior to recommend specific products for that.
Right. All right. Well, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Our friends over at Shopify recently released an article, and we're going to pop that into the chat right now. And the reason I'm including this is because it's all about mapping out the user experience. And you'd be surprised how many times I have conversations with people during my live Q&As, and they completely skip this step. And they wonder why their sales are stagnating or their business is failing to get off the ground. And it's because you haven't laid the foundation of a genuine business. You have to treat your print-on-demand business like a real business. Okay, if you want to move beyond just kind of selling a few orders here every once in a while to joining the top Etsy sellers and the top Printify sellers. So go ahead and check this out. It's actually a really quick read, and the information is key to your success.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing too about mapping a user's journey, it's not just about what your shoppers are doing on your website or your shop, but it's really that entire journey from when a buyer or customer finds your product on social media or from a friend, whatever, all the way up until they buy it, and then if they're even reaching out to support or leaving a review, that entire experience.
The whole journey. So that's very important for you to understand comprehensively so you can provide the best experience possible to your customers. Okay. And then a quick shout out to our folks over at ChatGPT. They recently released their 4.5 version. And I include this because, folks, if you're not incorporating the wizardry of ChatGPT and AI in your regular workflow, be that in your product designs or in just optimizing your data analysis, you are going to be left behind, because this is the wave of the future. This is going to be a theme of today's discussion. So, but this is available to all you folks out there right now, 4.5 on ChatGPT.
Let us know in the chat too if any of you have tried this new model. I personally have not tried it yet. Have you tried it?
Yeah, I've tried it. I've been working with it for like a week and a half now, and although I don't notice a lot of difference with the simple conversational stuff that I use it for, but for like data analysis, I feel like I'm getting a few layers deeper. So that's where I see its major benefit. Okay, so wonderful. Switching gears, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about trending products. Now, what I've done here is I've looked at our Printify data, and I've excluded the tried and true winners, your t-shirts, your sweatshirts, your hoodies, your canvas prints and things like that, things that are always on the top of the list. And what I've done is I've looked for the outliers, and I've assembled those for you here. Now, what's interesting to note about this is that 3 of these products are car related: your car magnets, your vanity plate, your bumper stickers. Okay, now that may signify that there is a growing automotive enthusiast niche that is out there in the ether of the print-on-demand sphere. But what I think is happening here is not necessarily that, but that this is added as an additional product onto, say, if you're selling to like soccer moms or skateboarders or something like that, an opportunity to add a little personalization to their daily life through these products. Okay, so that's what I think is happening here.
I've seen, I dove into car magnets a little bit more because we've actually had this as a trending product in a few of our episodes now, so I had to look into this. And I noticed on eRank that there was a huge spike specifically in June for car magnets, and a similar trend on Amazon as well. And so I think political messages for these car magnets are still kind of popular, but on Amazon, in the best sellers were the student driver stickers. And so they had kind of the classic student driver, be safe, but then also kind of some like funny ones and things like that. So Another thing that I saw were personalized car magnets for businesses.
Yes.
So talk about bulk orders there.
Exactly. And then we also have children's t-shirts have been selling pretty well, not just the Gildan that is featured here, but also the Belen canvas as well. And then Accent coffee mugs making their triumphant return to this list. But surprisingly, tank tops, with the most popular tank top in the entire industry, the women's ideal racerback tank, showing up in the trending products report for the first time. It's a harbinger of spring and summer. It's absolutely wonderful that it's showing up. That means we're on the other side of winter. But just keep in mind, folks, if you are selling tank tops, traditionally, tank top sales always peak in mid to late June. And that's because in the run-up to the warm weather, people need their stuff. But then after they buy it all and they're out at the beach, then those sales naturally drop off. So, but a very popular product, and it's trending right now. Moving along, here's what you need to keep an eye out for in terms of the holidays on the horizon that you can target as part of your sales strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's World Health Day, in case you didn't know, on April 7th, Passover on April 12th through the 20th, and then Easter on April 20th. And then Earth Day is coming up for all you eco-friendly folks that are targeting that market on April 22nd. Just a few opportunities for you to target in your e-commerce calendar. And speaking of your e-commerce calendar, let's pop in the link to our 2025 e-commerce calendar so that you can have all this information at your disposal.
And when you're hitting some of these holidays, be sure, especially on Etsy, hit those design trends. Their color of the year, lime cream, especially for Easter, those perfect kind of soft pastel colors, work those into your designs.
Exactly. Let's give a shout out to our friends over at eRank, and let's check out the current trends that are trending on Etsy. Now, what I did here was I looked at eRank's trend feature, and I just pulled out the ones that are most applicable to you folks that are right at the top of the list. And so first, interestingly enough, we have birthday gift for her and birthday gift for him. I think we featured birthday gift for her before, but then now we see birthday gift for him. So seeing the word gift this high up in the trend report means that the word gift as a trending keyword might be something you wanna include in your keyword strategy. It's always a good one.
I think gift can be put for literally any product, any niche. Someone's always looking for something specific as a gift.
And we're going to explore that a little bit later. But of course, T-shirt and home decor. But Easter, right at the top of the list as well, because everybody needs their Easter stuff. So take Leah's advice and think about some of those popular trending colors. So I hear you folks out there asking what's new at Printify. Well, guess what? You get to find out right now. And it's the news that's on the top of everyone's mind, the tariffs, okay? It's been in the news about these pending tariffs. Are they going to happen? Are they not? Well, folks, at least from the perspective of a print-on-demand merchant, we have produced for you a comprehensive video answering many of your frequently asked questions, as well as giving you the information you need to know so that you can navigate this tariff thing as best as possible, and in a way we can all manage it together. So we're going to pop that link into the chat right now. But go ahead and take a look, and let's hope we can get on the sunny side of all these tariffs with minimal effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Martin, you did a really good job with our friend over at Printful, Liz. They answered some really good questions about tariffs, concerns about raising prices. We understand that concern, and that's also why, if you are still concerned, Printify Choice, we've talked about it before, will always give you the cheapest prices for products. So if it's something that you don't want to have to worry about as much, try to go for Printify Choice. Right, and if you want to learn a little bit more about Printify Choice, we'll pop in a link to a Help Center article about it. But there's some really cool stuff that's right on the horizon from Printify Choice, and I really wish I could tell you about it right now. But all I can say is you're going to love it, and it's coming up here very, very shortly. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a great opportunity for me to do shameless self-promotion. If you watch the show, you know I'm nothing if not a shameless self-promoter. Join me for my live Q&A sessions that I do on the Sellers Club on Mondays and Wednesdays. Come sit down with me in my home studio. Let's talk about the things you want to talk about. The greatest joy of my job is that I get to play a small role in your success, and I absolutely love that. So sit down with me. You can sign up today for the Sellers Club using code LAUNCHPAD2025 and get your first month free. But then after that, it's like $5.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's less than a carton of eggs these days.
That is, you are 100% correct, Leah. So for less than a dozen eggs, you can join the Sellers Club, have access to my live Q&A session, sit down with me, sit down with the other mentors, get access to courses, all designed to make you a more knowledgeable and more profitable POD seller. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the issue of the day, the reason why you're all here. Let's talk about success on Etsy. But in order to find success on Etsy today, it's important to look back at the past. And I want to highlight again our friends over at eRank, because they recently published an article where they did a survey of of 1,000 Etsy shoppers and got their opinion on several different factors. Now we're going to pop a link to an article for this particular article. We're going to pop a link for this article and also add a video that they produced. But we're going to do a deep dive on this article and decide and figure out exactly what it means for you. Okay, so it's a deep dive into buyer trends, and it's designed to equip you with the knowledge that you need to move forward in 2025. So with that in mind, let's explore.
Yeah, so again, we recommend actually going into the article yourself, because we were saying earlier they give some really, really nice visuals, some infographics, some charts, breaking down some of these statistics and results from the survey. So starting off, we probably say this in just about every single episode, how important it is to be successful on Etsy, or anywhere for that matter, is you have to understand buyer behavior. You have to know your customers specifically. So let's dive into some of those insights that this survey provided, starting with some basic demographic insights. So they found that shoppers on Etsy span across all ages, from teenagers to your grandparents and older. And surprisingly, it's kind of equal male-female representation. You know, I was a little bit surprised Etsy was kind of female-leaning more so, but it's more or less equaled out. So
go figure.
Gifts for everybody. If you can take action with this, really try to offer your items for everyone. If you're selling, let's say, plant mom mugs, why not plant dad mugs for the males out there, or plant grandmas for the older people? You know, really try to kind of work into those various buyer personas. Next up, they really talked about the importance of high quality listings, and we also talk about this all the time, but nearly 70% of buyers say that high quality photos and a detailed description will be crucial when they decide to make a purchase. So you should be investing in those high quality images. Show your products from multiple angles. Try to show lifestyle images so your customers can also envision what the product will be like for themselves. And in your descriptions, be clear, be engaging. Don't talk about just the features, but also the benefits that your product specifically provides and stands out against your competitors. Moving on, we have to showcase how important effective communication strategies are. Buyers expect regular updates, especially when it comes to shipping delays or the status of their orders, okay? More shoppers now than ever want follow-ups post-delivery as well. They just really appreciate that kind of extra mile that you've gone. So how can you do this? Well, send messages that you're confirming you've received the order, give them processing time updates, and of course give them follow-ups after they've ordered. Make sure everything meets your standards and their standards. And a quick, easy way to set this up so you're not kind of manually typing out every single response, use Etsy quick replies. Those are kind of like templates that you pre-make, but make sure that you're still personalizing these messages, add your customer's name, throw in maybe the product that they ordered. Next up, we have to talk about customer reviews. So a whopping 93.7% of buyers say that product reviews influence their decisions. So these reviews are what build the most trust, and it acts as social proof that your product is a quality product. So encourage your customers to leave reviews by sending that friendly post-delivery follow-up message, or showcase these positive reviews also in your social media posts, in your product listings. You can showcase them in an email newsletter, get them out there. And of course, if you do ever get a negative review, it does happen. It happens to everybody. Be sure that you are responding and you're responding professionally. This will show other buyers too that you are professional. You tried to rectify the situation, and they'll probably see that it's a one-off review. Next up, the good old debate of free shipping versus non-free shipping. So customers love free shipping. This is what this eRank study found. But shipping costs are among the top factors influencing repeat purchases. So I remember, Martin, we had a little debate back in Amplified back in the fall, and I was for paid shipping, you were for free shipping. It seems like you won that debate.
Well, I mean, you get to use the word free in your value proposal. How can you beat that?
That's right, but we'll have to get Jay's opinion on this too a little bit later. So yeah, so to take action on this, make sure to bake those shipping costs into your retail prices here so that you can stay competitive. And when you're offering free shipping, make sure your customers know everywhere. Let them know in your listing, in your shop. Put it in your shop banner, in your About Us section if you need to, but let your customers know. And last but not least, buyers are starting to embrace AI-created products. So we've been talking about AI. I think every single episode, it's not going anywhere. People are starting to accept that it's here, as long as you're being transparent about how you're using AI. Are you using it for simple elements or just to kind of give you inspiration? Let your buyers know, but be sure to emphasize your human touch still. Focus on customizability and being original still. So in short, Etsy shoppers, they are willing to wait a little bit for quality products. They value transparency and they're looking for an easy, seamless buying experience.
Yeah, I think Etsy is in a weird transitional point right now. I mean, if you look at their stock price is down. If you look at their revenue is also down. So, but at the same time, you see plenty of print-on-demand sellers flocking to the platform. Plenty of them still having success. So, and I'd love to get Jay's take on this when we bring him in. But I think we're seeing a transition away from Etsy's traditional model of being the handcrafted place to a more digital online marketplace, and I think print-on-demand sellers are going to be leading the way, which is nothing but good news for you folks out there. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think this goes to show too, like not only is it still easy, accessible as a platform for POD sellers, but buyers are really looking for these niche, customizable, personalized products, whether it is something as simple as a mug or a T-shirt.
Exactly. Personalization is definitely going to be leading the industry into the future. Okay, and especially on Etsy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you very much for that presentation, Leah. I want to keep the Etsy discussion going, but not before I give away a little bit more money. Okay? I mean, do we have anybody that called out as a winner from the previous?
Yes, 2 winners from last time. Hopefully we had 3, and the third person just didn't tell us in the chat. But congratulations to My Adventure Bucket. The snow seems to be lucky for you. And Corey Sachs, congratulations.
Congratulations. Well, guess what? You two that have reported a win, guess what? You can still win. There's no limit to how many times you can win. So you can win another 15 here and then another 15 later on in the show. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give away today's second coupon code. Go ahead and take out your Printify account. Go over to the left-hand side where it says Wallet, navigate down to where it says Resource Center and, Reward Center, and find the coupon code section and get ready to put in today's second coupon code, which is, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, Printify Choice 2025, all one word. We know we can't make it too easy for you, but just to type this out, ladies and gentlemen, if you won't see any bells and whistles saying congratulations, you won. You'll either get the money directly into your account, or you'll see a notice that says this coupon code doesn't exist, and that's because you were just a little bit too slow. But don't worry, one more chance to win, and if you did win, again, please let us know in the chat. We all want to celebrate, okay? All right, folks. Well, it's time to welcome our guest of honor. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the returning champion to the show, our first guest that we've ever had on the Clicks to Riches show. So it's my pleasure to welcome the Honorable Jay De Souza. Jay, come to the stage. It's wonderful to have you on the show, or back on the show.
Thanks, guys.
How you doing today, buddy?
I am great. It's pretty humbling to hear you say that I was the first ever, and then I'm guessing I'm the first one to be back also. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, you were just edged out by a hair by Mandy Dobosensky, who was our guest last week. But I'm not going to hold that against you, buddy. Okay.
Mandy's awesome. That's a good. I'll take second place to Mandy all day.
Wonderful. All right. Well, let's just say you're tied for first. How about that? All right. Well, let's start things off before we get into the interview portion, because Jay has agreed to give away a little something to our audience. So Jay, why don't you explain exactly how you're going to be doing this giveaway and what the giveaway is?
So I am excited to give away 2 1-month memberships to my inner circle, and there will be a trivia question, and it's going to have 4 answers and multiple choice, and we're going to pick the 2 closest winners. And we'll also have a 25% off coupon. We're going to open the doors to the inner circle membership until Sunday at midnight, and give you guys, everyone watching here, a 25% off coupon if you did want to join the monthly membership of the inner circle.
Okay, but before you give away that question, tell our audience what can they expect in your inner circle.
Oh, it's loaded. Ultimately, I'm a print-on-demand seller. Been at this for over 12 years now. I've sold over 200,000 T-shirts, for perspective. The membership is largely mindset and design based. So once a week, we have live coaching calls in there where I'll actually twice a week we have twice a month, sorry, design hot seat reviews where I'll take your design, deconstruct it, rework it with you, and then you get to keep that design and sell it, right? We're going to take all your designs and turn them into things that'll actually sell. Then we do, some live deep niche research and design research. And also we have lots of guests that are coming on. We've had Anthony from eRank already. We've had Hannah for Profitry, and Juna, Duncan, and Philip Anders are rotating regulars in the membership too now. So talking all things design and AI as well. So pretty stacked. I think bang for buck, it's the best design related or design centric membership out there. And the community is just bar none, right? So it's a full live community. Works kind of like a Facebook idea. But yeah, it's engaging. It's built on trust. It's one of the few communities, I think, that people actually are open and share their designs in. Everyone's so proprietary about everything, but we really, foster a culture of trust and really want to help each other. So it's a great place. Solopreneurship gets lonely at times. So it's nice to have, like-minded people in a group that you can kind of bounce each other's ideas off of and move forward. So it's awesome.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds like you built yourself quite the community there, and anything that drives profitability, I'm all for. All right, so what's going to happen now, folks, is Jay's going to read off his trivia question, and then in the chat, put in your answer, and then 2 of you will be selected at random to receive Jay's prize, and we will let you know the winners in just a little bit. So without further ado, Jay, please go ahead and read off your question.
All right, so this will be multiple choice here. In 2024, the global POD market was valued at $10.21 billion. With an annual growth rate of 26.9%, what will the value be by 2033? Your options are A, 57 billion, B, 67 billion, C, 87 billion, or D, 77 billion.
Ooh, read off those choices one more time.
A, 57 billion, B, 67, C, 87, or D, 77.
All right, put your answers into the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck to you, and we'll let the winners know here a little bit later. And while you are typing in, we're going to flash the promo code for those of you that unfortunately do not win, but you still want to join the inner circle. Sign up with the code Printify25 for a 25% off the monthly option. All right, well, we'll get back to you winners in just a little bit, but I promised a deep dive discussion with our friend Jay, so let's go ahead and get right to it, Jay. So let's talk Etsy. Since Etsy has become both more competitive and more accessible thanks to AI and improved tools, from your perspective, what are the biggest shifts in the POD landscape for 2025?
AI, I think, is one of the biggest on all fronts, from design, from data, from everything else in between. It's here to stay, so you just kind of got to get used to it and roll with the punches. I know a lot of people feel proprietary that are handmade makers, but AI has kind of leveled the playing field with everybody in terms of POD. So the tools are accessible to everyone. There's ultra low barrier to entry now. So you're going to have to get better at design in the same effect or the same kind of, to counter all of the masses of the generic AI designs. And then you got other data-driven kind of tools that are being built and improved on, like eRank, for example, for their niche and trend selection options. They also have a listing builder that I like to use sometimes if you're ever having like that mental roadblock, or that niche roadblock, you don't really know where to move forward or just get really good ideas. Their listing builder will give you 3 title options, 3 description options, and a set of tags to go with whatever kind of niche or whatever you put a short description of something you want to sell. So if you're having any kind of mental blocks, AI is just crushing it now. So you've got the design tools. You always got Chat GPT to come up with, funny puns related to cross niching. It's all over the place, and it's super easy, and a lot of them are free.
Yeah, I love eRank too. That's my go-to tool as well for research. And just a quick reminder, you folks out there, we're going to have a dedicated Q&A portion a little bit later. But as those questions come to mind, don't hang on to them until the end. Pop those into the chat, and our moderator Talish will collect those, and we'll be sure to address those. But Jay, you mentioned something about barrier to entry. So the barrier to entry to selling on Etsy has never been lower. So with so many people on the platform being drawn to the opportunities, what strategies do top sellers need to employ to gain an edge?
Well, I think I implore everybody to at least learn the basics of design, right? If it's not just text, it's at least learn how to lay out something. You're going to need to build kind of some unique branding, because anybody and everybody can just throw up tons of AI generated stuff. So you're going to have to, get the design basics, build a brand that resonates with your audience. People want to be, a part of something. So give them that. Try to get specialized in a niche to give yourself credibility. And that'll also in turn build customer loyalty. You'll end up with people becoming brand ambassadors that just kind of feel proud to represent your story. And they're going to be the ones, wearing their shirt out to hang out with their friends or like-minded, circles. And then those people ultimately are the ones that are going to say, hey, where'd you get that shirt, right? You want your designs to really stand out that way. And again, I just got to reiterate, like, just get better at design. AI isn't going to do it for you enough. Just because it's made by AI does not mean it's inherently a good design. So yeah, just get better at design to help stay ahead for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on brand building too, because I find that that's something that's often overlooked for Etsy sellers. But I'd love to get your opinion on what Leah and I touched on a little bit earlier. So, like, given that Etsy's revenues are down, their gross merchandise sales are down, their stock price is down, but yet POD merchants are still flocking, still finding a whole bunch of success. What's your take on what this means for Etsy, not only this year but looking forward?
So, I mean, POD is, we'll get to the answer of the multiple choice question, but it's growing at crazy rates. And Etsy has even said, they made a statement saying that, it said, after considering, I have it written down here, after considering complex issues regarding or surrounding AI generated content, they decided to continue to allow sellers to list their original stuff made by, whatever prompts they had there. You can't sell your own prompts, but you can create designs and sell AI generated stuff on Etsy. So, but yeah, I mean, all of this is, POD sellers are absolutely thriving if you're doing the right kind of work, right? And all of this probably even exacerbated by all the tariffs as well, because with Printify, for example, you guys, make it super simple to sell to the end customer from within their country, or at least their continent, right? It's almost impossible not to find an option that way. So when stuff is not crossing borders, there's no tariffs to be, levied or charged, right? I just think, handmade people doing the handmade stuff are going to have to really raise their prices or buy in larger inventories in bulk in order to kind of offset some of the, leverage some pricing volume discounts or something like that. Or they're going to have to source from within their country, for which products would have already had tariffs levied. So it's just going to get harder and harder for the handmade crowd. But the bonus, I mean, for us is POD is going to be king, I think, for a long time to come.
Yeah, that's actually, I agree with you 100%. And you did touch on the winners of the contest, and we do have those results in. Leah, who are our winners of the free membership to Jay's Inner Circle?
Well, congratulations to winner number 1, Precious Regalos.
Congratulations,
Fireworks to
Precious.
you.
Congratulations.
And congratulations to winner number 2, Joel N.
Joel N. Congratulations, Precious and Joel. You are now the newest members of Jay's Inner Circle. We're going to go ahead and get that information to you so that you can take advantage of everything the Inner Circle has to offer. And thanks to Jay for giving away that prize. All right, well, let's continue on, Jay. And let's continue the discussion with AI. So with AI-generated designs and automated SEO, like sellers can scale faster than ever. But if everybody has the same tools, like what truly sets apart a successful Etsy seller from each other?
I think you're going to just have to get, better at graphic design. So first, it comes with understanding your niche. You need to know all the ins and outs of whatever niche you're doing. There's this misconception that people are one-time shoppers buying one-off items. If you don't know your niche and you're trying to sell to everybody, you're going to need thousands and thousands, and it's just not working smarter. It's absolutely working harder. But you want to understand the niche. You want to know all the funny quips, the idioms, all the inside jokes that go along with it. I've always used this one as an example, but for fishing, if you're selling to fisher people, you don't say good luck. You say tight lines, because if the line is tight, then that means typically there's a fish on the end of it, right? Same with people in the performing arts. They say break a leg. They don't say good luck, right? Those are the kind of things that are going to set you apart by knowing your stuff. Like my wife sells a lot of stuff in the big dog niche, and we absolutely know everything. So when everybody sees, my dog when I'm walking him in the morning, or when Stacy was walking the dog too, like, oh my God, it's a horse. So she made a shirt that says, no, it's not a horse, right? And then showing, different things like that. And they become bestsellers because people laugh at them, right? It just tugs on those emotional heartstrings. But that said, you always have to design with your audience in mind too. So you want to choose the right fonts that make sense for the niche. I wouldn't put a collegiate font on a fishing shirt, for example, or on a mechanic shirt. You'd probably want something a little grittier, right? So even down to font choices, colors, you're not going to want some, for a mechanic, for example, who's going to get dirty, or a grittier kind of vocation, they're not going to wear all the colors of the world. They're going to wear probably a dark shirt where the grease doesn't show, and maybe just a single solid monochromatic kind of design, right? And then all that comes with selling an emotion and building a brand story, right? Tell people why you do what you do, make them want to be a part of what it is, or movement, or something to that effect, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, you got to stop avoiding trend chasing. You're going to need 2,000 designs plus if you're going to be chasing one-off sales. And it'll cost you a fortune to list them. And if you get 3,000 listings up in a year, just take a snapshot of how much time you've actually spent to do that, and then ask yourself, if you're listing thousands and thousands, why you just don't go get a minimum wage job instead, where it's way easier and you're guaranteed a paycheck. Right? If you list 3,000 designs and only 20% of them sell, you're talking about so much wasted effort and time. So I think it's like, designing with intentionality at the end of the day is absolutely everything. The mock up, the package, the research, the design, all of it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And what you were saying about, coming off authentically with that language is so true. Like, so many times I talk to merchants and they want to know which niche to target. And I always recommend target a niche in which you are a member of. That way you understand, the path to understanding your target customer is a little bit shorter, because you are in fact your target customer. And you can come off as genuine because you already know the language that they use. You understand the world in which they live, and it just gives you a quicker end from A to B when understanding and targeting those potential customers. All right, excellent. Well, let's keep this AI discussion going a little bit more, Jay. So AI can optimize listings, but it can't build genuine trust with an audience. So how can sellers balance this automation and authenticity in their branding and their messaging?
So I don't use a ton of automation other than, some of the personalization stuff, like Hello Custom, shout out there for sure. I always design with intentionality. So I'm always going to be looking at things like the fonts, the colors. I feel like if you try to automate stuff, you're putting priority or emphasis on the quantity over the quality. And it's not to say that, quantity is a bad thing. Quantity is a good thing, but not if you're sacrificing quality at the end of the day, right? Quantity will come, but you cannot not focus on the quality there. SEO needs to be what a buyer is going to type when shopping for gifts. That was one of the the highest keywords you guys, Leah mentioned earlier. It's my goal is to make best sellers at the end of the day that people are going to buy as gifts for other people. That also minimizes returns and stuff tenfold, extremely, like exponentially, because they're not even holding it. In a lot of times they're having stuff shipped directly to the recipient, right? So like I've got a couple of stats here on this note actually, that about bestsellers. Like when I focus and do the background research, because if you don't resonate with that audience and you don't walk the talk as well, at least learn the stuff in that niche, because people will see right through you. My stats here, I got 30 listings that continue to sell that have made over 10K each. I've got 16 listings that have made over 30K each, 10 that have done over 50, 3 that are over 60, 2 over 100, and I have one listing from 2019 that continues to sell every single day, and it's made me over 900,000 in revenue. So it's not about, a spray and pray kind of mentality here. It's about really designing things that have the maximum shelf life, and that being, no expiry date, right? Evergreen all day for the win, for sure.
All right. Well, next time we're hanging out, you're definitely buying the drinks with making that kind of money. But no problem, Jay.
It's work.
I have one final AI question for you, because that's really the topic of the day. It's the buzzword. It's what everyone's talking about. So AI can generate like a lot of designs, but human intuition still plays a role. What tips do you have for our audience that are about selecting designs that will actually resonate with customers and make them buy them?
Yeah, I use AI only partially. So I'll use AI in a vein of like giving me suggestions and stuff, again, for things in certain niches. If you don't know the niche inside out, at least take the time to learn, or, leverage AI if you can for some help that way. But you need to know how to lay out text. So I'll use AI when I'm designing for part of the imagery if I use an image in it. A lot of my designs are mostly text-based, and you can make text into shapes, right? So like Kittle, for example, is great for all those layouts, right? It's pre-existing. You can just double click on the words in there and then drop your text in there, and it'll reshape it right to your to the it'll snap back to the template that it was already there. Everything in POD is pretty much automated these days, so you got to get better at designing if you're going to stand out. And then honestly, add your personal touch to it. So I think sometimes people just think that because it's AI generated that it's awesome and it's going to sell. I think you need to trust your gut a little bit, and that comes with knowing your niche again and your ideal customer. So you've got a target audience here. Then within that target audience, I'll use an analogy that I have here. I wrote it's fitness, right? So if you're selling to fitness enthusiasts, your target audience might be, a little bit tighter. So maybe they're CrossFitters. Now, your ideal customer, you could have multiple ideal customers within that niche. You're not just selling fitness stuff to everybody. You're selling to the 20-year-old who might be making Instagram posts. You're selling to the 40-year-old who's trying to hang on, or not lose or get out of shape. And then you're talking to potentially a 70-year-old or 75-year-old who is trying to prolong their life and get healthier and make healthier choices, right? Very different ideal customers, all within a fitness niche. So this is why you need to understand and make things specifically for that customer. 75-year-old, a design that appeals to a 75-year-old who's trying to get healthier isn't going to be the same kind of aesthetic that might look that somebody who's 20 something doing all the Instagramming. It's not going to appeal to them at all, right? So and then test with your audience, right? Facebook groups are great. Meme groups, drop memes in there, make some, see which one people like, and tell them that you're going to make a design out of this to put on a shirt, and ask them for feedback. They'll tell you exactly what they want, but then you got to get out of your own way and actually listen to what they're saying, right? And bring it back. And by that time you drop the second one and ask for opinion, you're already getting buy-in, and people are going to eventually probably just ask where they can buy the shirt or whatever it is you're designing, right? So yeah, I mean, just let the data kind of guide you that way, but use your intuition too. And that, again, all comes back to understanding who you're designing for.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I think we have time for
Yeah.
two more questions, Jay.
Okay.
So, if you were starting an Etsy business from scratch in 2025, what would Jay De Souza's game plan be for finding success?
Surprise, surprise is figure out what kind of niche you want to design for, or at least if you don't know it, learn it. Clearly identify your target audience, and eventually your niche is going to kind of surface, and you'll identify a few ideal customers within that niche, right? So it's not just, again, picking fitness enthusiasts, it's designing specifically for one person, right? A specific ideal customer. And then set long-term goals. So Carla, one of my members who's in the chat here too, and admin in my membership, she said something that kind of hit. It was how she plans in 10-year cycles and decades, right? So I had never really kind of thought more than 10 days ahead a lot of the time, right? Or maybe a year ahead, but like, and then just kind of, set those goals. So set specific goals and work backwards, right? Think of your long-term goals, and then leverage data tools like eRank. It's out there, and then just put the blinders on and really get to work. So stop listening to all of the YouTubers out there. Stop trying to chase all the trends out there. A lot of YouTubers, will have methods that work. A lot of people in the space, but a lot of their methodology really can conflict with other ones, right? So you'll end up spinning your wheels and stuck in that rut if you're not being able to, put the blinders on, literally get to work and have like some linear thought here. But at the end of the day, it's all about design. You can have all the SEO on the planet and all the ad spend on the planet, but if your design sucks, it's just going to be an expensive, design that sucks because nobody's going to buy it. And that also brings me to a point where, make everything bold and visible, because if your design sucks, you need to suck in bold. I might put that on a shirt actually, but the idea is that when it crosses, people's feeds, they need to determine whether or not they're going to click on it to buy it immediately. If they click on it and they do not buy, it tanks your conversion rate, and it's doubly so if you're paying for that ad, because now you paid for that click to tank your conversion rate, right? So make sure that it's visible at a glance, and the only way to do that is to get better at design.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's like really tough to accept the fact that like you may love a design and you may think it's going to sell like gangbusters, but nobody's buying it and everything else is optimized, your keywords, your pictures and your mock-up images and things. It's you just have to make that tough decision that, well, nobody just likes my design. But guess what? It's not all bad because you've learned something. You can learn just as much from your successes as your failures, okay? So let's move on to our last question, Jay. So to wrap things up, what's like the single most important piece of advice that you'd offer up to somebody who wants to achieve long-term success on Etsy?
The single. So I'm terrible at this, and I'm going to have two single pieces of advice. The first one is to stop overthinking all this and just take action, right? You're never going to get better at all the processes if you don't start, and you're never going to be able to sell a design if you don't get it listed, right? You want to be doing work that moves the needle, so just like not stuff that is busy work. You want to be actually doing things that move you forward, right? There's Dan Coe comes to mind. He wrote The Art of Focus, and he has a quote that is a tweet from 3 years ago that stuck out, and I've got stuck on my post-it note on my laptop here. It's the greatest skill one can develop is decreasing the time between an idea and execution. So the faster you can, execute on that design, get it listed, but not at compromising quality, of course. The faster you can make money. The second thing is to just get out of your own freaking way. Put your ego aside, get objective about your whole process. It's not just exactly what you said. It's just because you love that piece of art doesn't mean anybody else will. Let the data drive how you design, understand the market. Just because you spend hours and hours and hours on something, or you're a graphic designer turned PODer, doesn't mean that the customer is going to be artistically educated enough to even respect what you've put into it, right? They don't care at the end of the day. It's the emotional heartstrings. So if you're not going to, learn the basic design principles, which are number one again, then at least get out of your own way, be honest with yourself, and outsource that part, right? All the SEO on the planet, again, isn't going to make an ugly design sell. So those are the two.
Exactly.
Pieces.
And folks, at the end of the day, there's plenty of room in this business for everybody. The pie grows larger every single year. There's plenty of room for everybody out there to get their slice. Okay. All right. Well, Jay, thank you so much for your insights. I hope our audience out there was taking copious notes. We're going to move on to the Q&A portion of today's show, so we can have a little bit of input from our audience. But I'd like to get a little input from you folks out there. How many of you out there are actively selling on Etsy right now? Go ahead and spam the chat with a $ so we can see exactly how big our Etsy community is here today on the Clicks to Riches show. So go ahead, throw in a $ into the chat just so we can all see and support each other in this journey. All right, Jay, are you ready for a few questions?
Shoot, yeah, this is my favorite part.
Okay, well, we'll see if that holds true. Leah, what sort of questions do we have from our audience today?
We've got plenty of great questions. They were all actively listening to Jay, and the $ are coming in right away. So first question, you were talking about some other YouTubers. So Fancy Flamingo asks, so many YouTubers advise you don't need any design skills to start in POD. It makes me nuts. Why do you think so many keep giving this advice?
Good question.
Because they're coming from a place, typically, I would say we've seen an influx through COVID, especially when other businesses got crushed with the pandemic. I think it's because they're coming from a place as a business person first and not prioritizing the design. That's also going to hold true for them, that you don't need design if you're going to AI generate absolutely everything and then list, right? At the end of the day, you still need to know what a good design is and if it makes sense for that particular niche. I don't think that's totally true at all. I think, you can win doing that with zero design skills nowadays because the tools have made it so much easier, but you still have to know what makes a good design. So I think at least learning design basics is crucial. It's absolutely crucial. You're never going to get listings that sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth, over years, if you don't know how to design.
Yeah, certainly the fundamental of designs are important, but it's also important to realize that good designs is not out of the reach of anybody these days with the tools out there on the market. And you can actually go back into previous episodes of the Clicks to Riches show where we brought some of these design tools on, and they demonstrated exactly how easy they are for the beginner to get from start to creating designs that sell with limited design skills. And I mean, if I can do it, I'm all thumbs when it comes to design, but if I can do it, you folks out there can do it as well. So check out those episodes in the live section of our YouTube page. Let's have another question, Leah.
Yeah, continuing this kind of same topic, I want to hear Jay's opinion. Amy Osmo asked, where would a complete newbie go to learn design?
Shameless plug, my inner circle is awesome for that. We have design fundamentals, design basics, text, intro to typography, why typography matters. So instead of just teaching you how to do things, I'm teaching you also the why behind it. There's always psychology and being intentional with everything we do. So shameless plug there for sure. But ultimately, I think, you've got a few things that solve problems. Like Mystic POD is pretty good. I've only dabbled, but Chris, he built it to solve a pain point, just like Anthony built eRank to solve a pain point for his wife, right, to consolidate some data. So Kittle is another great one for existing layouts, but you have to know which layout at the end of the day to choose to make sense with your niche. But I think those would be probably the good ones. If you're doing text, ideogram is great. If you're doing Midjourney, ideogram is not, or if you're doing Midjourney, it's not great for text, right? So you have to leverage the tools to the best of their capabilities as well.
Yeah, identify the right tool for you, and then off you go. Okay, let's have another question.
Yep, we've got a really good question from Magical Multiverse. If your niche is within an established IP, how do you avoid copyright while still enticing customers with your designs? It's a really touchy topic.
Yeah, so this isn't going to be legal advice by any means, but parody is a great way to kind of hint at something. But with parody, you need to make sure that, so like parody is ultimately a defense in court, right? It's not something that you should always want to do, but you have to make sure that it's obviously making fun of whatever it is. It's intended to be a humorous kind of take on something, or a polarizing take, right? So the opposite kind of flavor. At the end of the day, you want to absolutely avoid brand confusion. Those are the magic two words there. Anything that is even towing the line of brand confusion will get you into legal hot water. Now, that said, even parody, if you're nowhere near brand confusion, can even get you into legal hot water if that brand or that, that trademark niche decides that they want to pursue. So if you're dead set on it, I would be very, very careful. But at the end of the day, I'd probably try to kind of, steer clear of any kind of brand confusion whatsoever.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to plug Sellers Club here real quickly, because if you Magical Multiverse are part of it, we will be dropping a course all about IP. We did a whole 7-module course discussing these exact things. So definitely check that
Awesome.
out.
Yeah, sign up for the Sellers Club using code Launchpad2025. Get your first month free.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next question comes from Margie Fazio. I do both traditional Etsy one-of-a-kind items and print on demand. On Etsy, how much do you spend on advertising for your Etsy POD shops?
Good question.
Wow, yeah. So I spend probably, so on Amazon, I'm looking at about $3,000 to $4,000 a month. So Etsy is a little less. I would say probably just over half, so maybe 2,500 a month. I'm probably spending on ads. But yeah, but you have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, literally. So speaking of IP, right? You need to know when to pull the plug on an ad that is not converting and not driving enough traffic. So it's a very delicate situation. But ads are always going to make good things sell better. It's the number one thing that massive companies do not pull in times of crunch either. So make sure you have a budget allocated for that. Profit Tree is a great way to do that. It shows you your tacos, so your total average cost of goods sold. And then, again, shameless plug for the Inner Circle, but Carla did an entire ads training in there. We even had Hannah in there as well. So knowing, how to properly run ads is going to be key here. But yeah, ads are a gold mine for sure.
Okay, wonderful.
We had another question kind of related to this now. I can't find again who asked it, but they were asking, with Etsy being so competitive, how can you really get in when all these kind of massive sellers are spending thousands of dollars on ads and they don't have the budget yet to spend this kind of money for ads? How can they compete?
Yeah, stop watching all the trend reports all the time if you're the 3,000th viewer, right? This means there's 3,000 other people ahead of you that just took action. So you're left behind, and you need to you're going to have to rely on things like ad spend, competing on pricing, which sucks. You're going to have to do all the things that are turning Amazon into the likes of a Temu, right? Where it's all low price. So honestly, learn how to design, know your niche, and bring something new, right? You can bring aesthetics that work over here and apply them to your own niche, but you definitely want to be, looking at trying to bring something that'll tug on the emotional heartstrings that is new for that niche. Doing more of the same isn't going to get you there, no matter how much money you put behind it.
Okay, wonderful. I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, one more question from Naughty Gnome Tico. Is it better to have one listing with 10 similar but different design options, 10 separate listings, one for each, or have the 10 separate listings and the one listing with all options?
Loaded question. Okay, so if I'm thinking this right, you're going to have, let's say, something that says world's greatest doctor, and then in a design aesthetic, and then you're going to have one that says teacher, one that says mechanic, one that says fisherman, one that says dad, something like that, right? So that already speaks to me thinking that you're not really in the niche tight enough. If it's going to be different kinds of nurses, I might list 2 and then add a personalization box and let them pick whatever, populate something like that. You never want to have too much of the same visually that'll confuse or overwhelm the customer, right? Because then there's going to be, especially if they're really close, if it's a certain kind of nurse, but they're both listed in this exact same aesthetic, that both could work, If it's one says healthcare and one says nursing, for example, but they look too close together, the customer's going to spend too much time trying to make that decision on that gift that they're buying, and then most often times they're just going to back out of your shop and go back to the search results and find something that they've only got one option of, right? So less is always more.
All right. Well, that sounds like a great place to end the discussion. Thank you so much, Jay, for sharing your expertise with us and our audience. It's very much appreciated. Let's go ahead and flash Jay's promo code up on the screen one more time. This is to take advantage of his inner circle. Use code Printify 2025 to get 25% off the monthly option. And we're also going to throw in Jay's socials into the chat. You can also find all this information in the description of today's video so you can have easy access to it. All right, thank you so much, Jay. But we need to close out the show. We understand your time is important. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give away our last coupon code for $15 of Printify sales credit. And let's go ahead and do we have some winners that we can shout out?
We have a couple more winners, and you are not going to believe this, but it is the exact same two winners. So you both, My Adventure Bucket and Corey Sachs, have speedy fast fingers. Are you going to get the third coupon?
Wait. Like, are they the only people out there competing? That can't be true.
It's what I see here.
All right, well, congratulations. The time spent in typing class is actually paying off for you, but you have another chance to win, both of you, so good luck. Let's go ahead and give away that final coupon code, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, please take out your Printify account, click on where it says Wallet, go down to where it says Reward Center, and find the coupon code entry box, because today's third and final coupon code is Do It Jay's Way. In honor of our guest, Jay De Souza, Do It Jay's Way, spelled just like this, all one word. And do let us know if you guys did actually get it for the third time. So more power to you. But don't worry, we'll have yet another opportunity for you folks to win something. All you need to do is wait around for the link that will pop in the chat to our post-show survey, and we'll give away 3 lucky winners picked at random to receive our grand prize of $50 of Printify sales credit and a Clicks to Riches Show t-shirt. But let's go ahead and wrap up the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our action plan. Now, this is how you put all the information that we presented to you today, because we threw a lot at you, how you put it to work to maximize your profitability. Well, first of all, embrace these data-driven decisions. Be a data nerd, okay? Utilize those tools like eRank out there to analyze keywords, trending keywords and profitable niches and things like that, so that your efforts align with successful Etsy practices.
Next, make sure that your brand is memorable. Create a strong brand story. Have consistent visuals across your shop, across your mock-up photos, your social media, newsletters, everywhere. And that really builds trust with your customers. It keeps them coming back. And also, create this story by sharing behind-the-scenes images or photos or content, really, that just shows your overall story.
Exactly. And take advantage of the acceptance of AI design and leverage it for efficiency. The article that we were featuring yesterday said that 61% of shoppers on Etsy are open to purchasing AI designs. But be strategic about it, okay? And also be transparent about your AI designs, okay?
Next up, quality over quantity. Now, there's this huge kind of myth out there that you just have to list thousands and thousands of listings. No, focus on quality first. Now, of course, the more listings you make, the better they are going to get, but focus on well-researched, high-quality designs instead of mass-producing just kind of those generic products.
Exactly. And engage authentically with your customers. Folks, I can't emphasize enough how important prioritizing customer service is, especially in the beginning, so you can foster those relationships, generate those 5-star reviews. I always say it like this, folks. Treat your customer like your crush, ladies and gentlemen, because you want to let them know you're interested, but you don't want to come on too strong. And if you prioritize customer service, by all means, please do not keep it a secret. Let your customers know that if they purchase from you, they are in for a white glove service. Don't keep it a secret, ladies and gentlemen.
And last but not least, stay focused, ignore all that extra noise. Just as Jay said, don't go chasing every single new trend. Stick to what aligns with your brand and you'll have that long-term success.
Excellent. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we like ending our show with a few more plugs. Go ahead and check out Jay's socials, but also join me on the Sellers Club on Mondays and Wednesdays for my live Q&A sessions on the Sellers Club. Use code Launchpad2025 to sign up today and get your first month free. But not only do you get to see my beautiful face, you also get to interact with our other mentors on the Sellers Club, as well as all those super cool courses and the one that Leah just mentioned. So there's plenty of opportunity for you out there, all for just $5 a month. I can't think of anything in this industry that provides you more value at that kind of a price point. So I'm going to ask that we put in the link to our post-show survey, and shout out to Joel and Precious. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section of this survey who you are, so we know exactly how to connect you with Jay's with Jay's prize of a free membership to his inner circle. But 3 of you who fill out the survey will be selected at random to win our grand prize, which is $50 of Printify credit placed directly into your account, and a super awesome Clicks to Riches t-shirt, very exclusive. You'll be guaranteed to be the only one in your neighborhood sporting this. Make everybody you know jealous by wearing a Clicks to Riches t-shirt. But that's it. Wow. Oh my goodness. This was such an awesome episode. We covered so many awesome topics. Jay was so forthcoming with his wisdom. We truly appreciate that. But before we say goodbye, Jay, do you have any last words for our audience?
Oh man, honestly, I'm just humbled every time to do this. I try to give, I've had a Facebook group down there. You can check the socials too, but I've been giving away all this information for free for almost 9 years now. I just want everybody to win. So the only way you're going to win is if you pay attention, put in the work, but get started, I think. So I hope everybody just, does something to where they don't have to feel like they're stuck in whatever situation they're in, right? Just want everybody to win.
All right, golden words, my friend, golden words. All the links of all the topics that we covered today, as well as Jay's socials, will be located in the description of this video. Leah, do you have any last words for our audience?
Yes, do that heavy lifting of all your research, your buyers, niche, keywords, trends at the beginning to get off on the right foot for long-term POD success.
And if you want my advice, keep watching the Clicks to Riches show. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another new episode guaranteed to increase your profitability. So from Jay, from myself, from Leah, the rest of the crew here at the Clicks to Riches show, from Printify and our BFFs at Printful, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.